If you disappear for a week, what happens? Not hypothetically, in reality. Does everything continue moving, or does momentum tighten just slightly? Not collapse, just slow. Decisions wait, conversations pause, people hesitate. That hesitation means something. It means you delegated tasks, but you didn't delegate the thing that actually scales. You've already seen how effort can become the bottleneck. This is deeper even when effort steps back. If judgment stays centralized, growth still depends on you. And that's the limit most people never see. There are 3 levels of delegation. Most people master the first 2, but the third level, the one that actually scales, requires releasing something most founders never release. And that's what we're exploring today. Most people believe they delegate. They assign responsibilities. They distribute workload. They reduce their direct involvement. From the outside, it looks like scale. But something subtle remains. People still check. They still confirm. They still escalate gray areas upward. So work is distributed, but thinking isn't. And judgment is where scale either multiplies or stalls. Imagine a founder who built everything from scratch. In the beginning, they did it all. Sales, hiring, strategy, crisis management. Eventually, they hire a team. Marketing runs campaigns. Operations handle suppliers. Support manages customers. On paper, it looks like growth. But here's what actually happens. Marketing prepares a campaign and asks, does this align with your vision? Operations wants to change a vendor and says, just want your input first. Support hits a gray area issue and escalates it upward, not because they're incapable, but because judgment was never transferred. Execution moved, interpretation didn't. So when the founder steps away, momentum tightens. Not dramatically, subtly. That subtle slowdown is the signal. Tasks feel safe, they're measurable, they're clear, they're contained. Judgment is different. Judgment decides what matters, what doesn't, what fits the standard, what violates it, when to move, when to wait. Delegating judgment means releasing interpretation. And interpretation feels personal. It feels like authority. So most people never truly release it. They supervise instead. Supervision looks like delegation. Structurally, it isn't. If every meaningful decision still needs your evaluation, you are still the system. It doesn't matter how many tasks you've assigned. If progress pauses without your reasoning, growth is capped at your cognitive bandwidth. Not because others lack talent, but because thinking still routes through you. That's the real bottleneck here, not effort, interpretation. In that founder scenario, there are 2 possible paths. One keeps you as the final filter. Every campaign reflects your instinct. Every supplier change requires your approval. Every edge case waits for your interpretation. It feels controlled, but it keeps the system dependent. The other path defines standards so clearly that decisions no longer need personality. Instead of ask me before launching, it becomes if it fits these constraints, move. Instead of run it by me, it becomes if it protects these principles, proceed. When standards replace supervision, judgment transfers. And when judgment transfers, decisions stop waiting. Delegating judgment means accepting something uncomfortable. People will make decisions you wouldn't make. not worse, different. And if you override every difference, you teach the system one thing: wait. That's how architecture collapses back into supervision. Trust isn't comfort. Trust is structural independence. Here's the simplest test. If you step away, does the system keep thinking? Not executing, thinking. If trade-offs are handled, if grey areas are resolved, if decisions move without you, judgment has been transferred. If everything waits for confirmation, you're still the center of interpretation. And centralized interpretation cannot multiply, it can only extend. There's something deeper here. Being needed feels valuable. Being consulted feels important. Being the final word feels powerful. But importance and scale rarely coexist. At some point, you must choose. Do you want to remain central, or do you want the system to function without you? You cannot maximize both. Remember the 3 levels I mentioned at the start? Level 1, delegate tasks. You assign work, people execute, but you remain the thinker. Level 2, delegate execution. You give people ownership of processes, but you remain the interpreter. Level 3, delegate judgment. You transfer the ability to decide. The system thinks without you. Most founders get stuck at level 2. They've hired, they've trained, they've built processes, but they're still the interpreter. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Delegation doesn't fail because people are incapable. It fails because judgment never left you. And as long as you remain required for interpretation, you remain the limit. Architecture begins when you are no longer necessary for judgment. That's harder to release than tasks. And that's why most people never truly scale. That's where trust stops being emotional and becomes structural.